my literary luminaries, and welcome back. I've decided that I'm going to try and do the Top 5 Wednesday shifted today, and so it's going to be Top 5 Thursday, because it occurs to me I already put up blog entries, hopefully, on Wednesdays, and that seems very repetitive or something, so we're going to do Top 5 Thursdays, and you'll have to forgive me for changing things. But, in any event, this week's Top 5 are the Top 5 favorite self-published books. And as anyone who has followed my book reviews knows, I could easily fill all of this with MCA Hogarth books. That could be the whole list. But I tried to branch out a little bit more. There's only one book by Micah on here. So, regardless, let's begin the list. Number 1. Book number 1, we'll get it out of the way, is I picked what I believe sort of is the first book that really caught me, that absolutely made me the MCA Hogarth fan that I am, and that would be Mind Touch. Mind Touch is an adorable little book about basically two very unlikely friends that end up making, a strong connection, and they build through all this, and they help with each other with their troubles, and it's adorable and wonderful, and if I try and explain it all in one sentence, I will fail. Jahir and Visita, and I can't say his name properly, I apologize. She's tried to teach me, I'm no good at it, are wonderful. All the memes that go relationship goals, that's my friendship goal. If I can have a friend like they're friends to each other, it'll be fantastic. I'm very close. But, I'm not an eldritch. So, sorry, Kira. We're not aliens. We can't be like them. We're dang close, though. So, absolutely, number 1. It's the book that sold me on everything else Mike has ever written. If you're looking for somewhere to start, that would be at least one of the best places I can point you. If not that, then definitely Earthrise. But I said only one! Ah! Number 2. Book number 2 is another book by an author I am familiar with. She's from my hometown. I got a chance to meet her back when she was working with an agent and releasing her first series of books. And the number 2 book is Familiar Things by Leah Habel. I was introduced to Leah through her books Dearly Departed and Dearly Beloved, the two extant books of the Gone with the Respiration series, which are both wonderful, but they're traditionally published. Familiar Things is her first venture into self-publishing after she left what she was doing with Gone with the Respiration. It's very... I don't want to say it's very much a change from the Dearly series, but it's definitely sort of spinning it on its head. The characters are fantastic. I think there should be a blog post where I reviewed Familiar Things, I believe in the blog somewhere. If not, you can definitely check out my review on Goodreads. It's very... I want to say, steampunk, and that's not accurate. And it's not quite the neo-Victorian that Gone with the Respiration is. But it's very sort of two worlds separated, in that if you take our world and say that there were a group of people that didn't like the way technology and all that jazz was heading, and they made a magic bubble over here and kept their magic and their technology as it was and haven't really changed, that's where the book of Familiar Things takes place. The real world, the world that we all live in, does exist and plays a fairly important part in the plot, but it is the outside, it is the other. It's absolutely interesting. I'm doing a terrible job of describing it, but I do definitely recommend picking it up. Habel is one of the best authors I've had the pleasure of reading. Her characters are very in-depth. Her dialogue is hysterical. She's really got a good grasp on it. I believe this would be considered a young adult book, but it's absolutely good for anybody. Very much recommend picking it up. Number 3. 3 is a book by someone I met in college. And I know that they'll be mortified by me putting it on this list, though I am very much a fan of the book. I know they are planning on a second edition that's going to be a bit edited. Not dramatically, but made a bit better from where it is now. I still think the first draft is worth reading. I own a copy, and that is The Dark Space Between by Kay Baisley. Dark Space Between ties in all sorts of manner of things that I like. It deals with the magic and fallen angels and romance and betrayal, and it's all manner of wonderful things. And it's very... Girl finds out that her family has been involved in things that she wasn't quite aware of and is suddenly thrust into the midst of it. And it's, even as rough as the first copy might be, it's definitely worth at least putting it on your TBR. See when Baisley puts out the second edition, because I know they're definitely planning on one, and I may have to poke at them to start writing it. But definitely something to check out. Keep your eye open for it. They have an amazing grasp of the language and a good idea of what makes a character dynamic. And that's important, especially in this sort of series. So, Number 4. Number 4 is another one I have a bit of a personal connection to. It's a book I was introduced to when I was hired to read the audiobook of it. This is The Captain's Door by C.S. Houghton. Captain's Door, it wasn't one that I probably would have picked up on my own if I hadn't been approached by the author to do the audiobook. But it's a really interesting book. You follow the captain of a ship who physically is a preteen, I believe, but in actuality has lived many years beyond that, and struggles to sort of captain her ship because, of course, she looks like a child, and some of her crew have a bit of trouble dealing with that. It's another one where the happenings of the world are bigger than expected, and you sort of get thrust into the middle of it. But it's a very interesting world. There's a whole bunch of interesting technology in it, and it balances sort of the magic and technology with the fact that they're captaining ships. Like, honest-to-God ships that float on the water, kind of. And I love sort of the anachronism of it all. But, good thing to check out. Of course, if you so desire to listen to my voice even more, you can go check out the audiobook, which is, of course, narrated by yours truly. But if not, absolutely check out the book. The last time I heard, Houghton was working on a sequel, and I would really like a sequel, but I don't know what the status of that is, so that may be a bit up in the air. And finally, number 5. Number 5 is actually a book I haven't read, but when I was doing some searching for self-published books and ones that had become relatively well-known, because a lot of times I'm not quite sure what's been self-published and what hasn't, I found out that this started self-published, and then blew out to amazing proportions. And so in many ways, I love what this has brought to the forefront of self-publishing, and that's The Martian by Andy Weir. I had no clue that The Martian started out as a self-published work, and the fact that a book that started as self-published, went up to a blog where people critiqued how good it was or how bad it was, he put it on Amazon so that people could get it better all in one piece, and then it exploded into what we see today, where we have to go save Matt Damon again in a movie. And it all started as a self-published book. There's still so much of a stigma on self-publishing and e-publishing and all of the things that we were taught at the beginning. Oh no, don't count on that. That's the new technology. It's not for serious people. You're never going to go anywhere if you ever self-publish. Andy Weir has proved that that's wrong. This is a big book that has done big things, and it all started as chapters on a blog. And so I love the fact that we're really starting to see. I know there have been others. We're not mentioning one of them because I don't want to talk about it anymore. But I love that we're starting to see that the self-publishing world is serious and it's going to be a big piece of the future. And it gives hope to the whole series of authors out there that are just starting to get into this world and are looking for their niche to fit into. And it's good to know that, even if you have to, really work up from the bottom and do the self-publishing and all that jazz, there's still a chance. It's a slightly better chance than winning the Powerball, which I don't know if anyone's won yet because I'm recording this on Tuesday, and so I'll find out later today. But there's still a chance that we could be the next, Andy Weir. And that's a good dream to have. So those are my top 5 favorite self-published books. What are yours? Let me know in the comments. Do you agree with any on mine? Have you read any on mine other than The Martian? Would you like to know anything more about mine? I'm more than happy to give you links, put you in contact with, or at least point you in the direction of putting you in contact with authors. I'd like to know more because I like learning about self-published books. So let me know your top 5 and we can add even more books to my ridiculously long TBR. But for right now, I will bid you adieu and I will see you with any luck at all again on Tuesday.